Welcome back. Welcome back to English Bilingualism 101 with Dr. Verghese. I'm Matthew Verghese. Today I am going to talk about one of the most important thing about English bilingualism or bilingualism in general. If somebody wants to learn a new language, what are the important things that one has to observe closely and one have to take care of when he or she is going to learn a new language. And today we are going to talk about the importance of primary linguistic data, generating or creating primary linguistic data with regard to a new language. So in my book and also in my know, I know a girl who could speak 5 languages when she was 5 years old, and this language ability she acquired through a process which is known as acquiring the primary linguistic data for communicating each of the 5 languages, and she unknowingly generate this skill because her mind language or mental is active, and since it is active, she will imbibe all the important aspects of each language, which means she generate a procedure for learning the words, and also she will learn a procedure for learning the arrangement of the words or how to arrange words into phrases and then into sentences. This sentencing method, a procedure, is known as syntaxing or syntax, and she will actually create this syntactic structure of each language, the base, and when she create that base for each language, her linguistic ability will, or language using ability will improve by the process of thinking in that language. So in fact, if you want to use a language fluently and efficiently, you need to think in that language. And this is what important for every learner of a new language, whether he or she is able to process the primary linguistic data. How can we explain it in a better way? In the case of girl, baby Sakura, when her father say, can you go to the kitchen and bring me a glass of water, she will actually immediately run into the kitchen, bring a glass of water. Nobody teach her water means some what is water, what is bringing, what is cup, you know. She actually instinctively generate that procedure of thinking in that language. Similarly, when her mother says, Sakura-chan, 台所にいて、カップで水を持ってきてください。私、喉乾いてる。So she understands each of these words. Misu means water. Bring, 持ってきて means bring me. This procedure she unknowingly developed in her mind. Or somebody tells her that നീ അടുക്കളയിൽ പോയി ഒരു ഗ്ലാസ് വെള്ളം എടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് വരൂ. In Malayalam, she will actually do that. Similarly, if somebody tell her in that language, she will immediately pick up what is misu, vellam, pani, water, uh, which she knows that it is the same thing. So then the corresponding activities like bring me, konduvaru, motegite, all these also she developed this procedure of structuring words and phrases into sentences. So this is continuously happening in her mind. But unfortunately, people who believe that mother tongue is their mother tongue is their thinking language, or language that in which they can think, they don't actually activate the bilingual activity in the brain, or the ability of the brain to imbibe many languages. And this is what people have to understand when they learn a new language. In fact, they have to, they have to mimic or imitate the procedure which, or they have to relearn the procedure which baby Sakura did when she was living in India with Indian father and Japanese mother, and she developed this procedure continuously, and she became proficient in all of the languages. Right? And while then when she goes to the school to study her classes in English, and when she goes to the Japanese school to study Japanese language, she will in fact build her linguistic skills based on that. And this procedure is essential for every language learner. So the primary linguistic data means the data required for a person to communicate in a particular language. That is irrespective of the language. Whichever language you are using, you need to develop the primary linguistic data. Unless you do that, I mean, like normally every human being has to live in a community, and he or she will pick up the language which is available for him or her while living in that community. I know a person, a Japanese person who born in California, and her parents are both parents are Japanese, and they lived immigrated to California when they were very young, in 1930s and 40s. And when she grew up, the parents mostly stopped communicating in Japanese at home because when her brother was born, and they all went to English school, and there was no necessity for them to learn Japanese or use Japanese. Very lightly they use. And when this person born, she was the youngest child in the family, and she communicated only in English. See, you just understand this idea that somebody is going to be communicative only in the mother tongue, or mother tongue is that thinking language, is a absurd concept. She couldn't speak any Japanese when she came to Japan, and that is in fact she could only speak English, and she can communicate only in English with other people whom she knows. So it is an absurd concept, but people don't have any idea about what is mentalist or mind language, and what is the uniformity of the mentalist. And this is something which we have to to understand while you are learning. If you are learning by yourself, by practicing, you need to know that you should develop the primary linguistic data without translating from one language to another. See, I tell you in my book also, I have described about a girl, a Japanese girl who migrated to America when in her late teens and early 20s, and she's actually an adolescent English learner, and she learned English as a second language in Japan. So she knows the basic grammar and all those things, but she also, while in Japan, she was also doing this process of translating from Japanese to English and applying the English grammar and communicating. And in America, she had to go to American college, where she has to communicate with her friends. So what happened is that when she went to America, and she had to use English for living in America. So she very well know that if she go to a shop and ask Ringo Kudasai, nobody will understand. But she knows that she has to speak in English. So give me apple. I want to buy apple, or give me a pencil. All these things. She started a procedure of thinking in English, which baby Sakura did when she was living in India. And this girl who went to America had to actually reinvigorate her language faculty, or the language using area of her brain to develop this skill of thinking in English. And she was efficient in thinking in English in that way. And in a short period, she could actually communicate in English. So this is what what she did there in America when she was living in America, that she developed his primary linguistic data for communicating in English, which she hasn't done in Japan. So similarly, many people who lack communication ability in their second language like English, they don't care to develop the primary linguistic data. They always try to translate, from one language to another, thinking that their language of thought, their thinking language is the mother tongue. This is an absurd concept, and if you want to become an English bilingual, you have to change this absurd concept. You are not thinking in your mother tongue. As I explained last discussion, last talk, mentalese is a universal language of thought for human thought, and we have to. A learner has to know how to use mentalese for thinking in the language. So, in fact, the idea, the thought will be transformed into the structure of a language. That is called a syntactical structure in linguistics. But normally, the procedure of making sentence in a language, that is what the structuring process. You need to, when you compose sentences in a language, actually you are putting words and phrases in order, which is allowed in the language. You cannot actually do otherwise, that ordering of the procedure, it means I go home 私は家に行きます。in Japanese, or ഞാൻ വീട്ടിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നു in Malayalam. मैं घर जा रहा हूँ, Hindi. All these words, we have a procedure, and that procedure has to be developed through practice in this language. And without doing that, how much ever you are able to uh, learn the vocabulary and the grammatical rules of a language, you will not be able to communicate it fluently. So this is what today's discussion. So, 今日の話は、さくらちゃん何バイリングルどうしてバイリングル早めに子供の頃できたと言ったら、さくらちゃんのお父さんいつも英語で話す。この英語で話すとき、bring me water from the kitchen, or can you get me that book from the bookshelf? She and 彼女は英語の順番とか英語の単語、ブックと言ったら本、bring me と言ったら持ってきて、そういうようなことを私たちに理解で説明できない場合で彼女学んでる、分かってる、勉強してる。これは後からお母さん部屋から私の洋服持ってきてくださいと言ったら、枕持ってきてくださいと言ったら、彼女は早めに持ってくる。これは英語から日本語から英語に訳してやったことない。でもあなたたちは学校でこの訳して学んだ。あなたたちはプライマリーリングスティックデータ、さくらちゃんやってるように一回もやってない。これを私たち、今のうちであなたたち、20歳、25歳とかなってる時、ゆうこさん、アメリカでやったように、アメリカの店に行って、コンビニに行って、ペンシルをくださいとか、ペンシル買いたいとか言ったら、誰にも何もわからない。それで、she has to say, I want to buy a pencil, or I want to buy a chocolate, or, like that. 彼女はこれで話さないでできない。それを彼女一生懸命頭使って勉強してやるの。それ勉強しないで一生懸命やるので、プライマリーリングスティックデータよく学ぶようになる。あなたたちこれ一回も頭の中やってないのでね、いつも英語で考えて日本語で単語を選んで英語の文法を一生懸命入れて話すので、英語いつも難しくなる。私の一人友達、あれはイギリスからMA もらった人です。彼には英語の全部言葉についてあること全部わかるけども、英語を話すできない。彼は一回もこのプライマリーリングスティックデータ学ぶのことを考えしなかった。それで彼に英語苦手です。これは本当で私たち分かった方がいいです。私にも日本語あまりよくできない子供っぽいのレベルです。でもプライマリーリングスティックデータ大体使うできるので、単語をもっと開けるとき、もっとよくもっと文章を作れる。 できる。本当で私に読むも書くもできない英語。日本語で、それ。それで、私の日本語もっと良くならないと思ってる。でも今のうちでも難しいですね、これ。Anyway, communication in a language absolutely require the, the ability to use the primary linguistic data. And based on that, we can develop our language using abilities. With that, I conclude today's discussion. If you find this talk useful, please share it with your friends. Please subscribe to this channel so that every week, at least twice, I will publish a video, and you can follow this method. I'm planning to at least 20 videos on this book. Many people ask me to give some introduction to this book. That is the reason I started this video. So you can share with your friends who may find the present methods difficult to follow, or they have problems in communicating in English. They can very well welcome to watch this. I guarantee you, if you follow what I am teaching, because most of my students are very happy with this method. Many of them have developed exceptional skills in using this language. So I'm very confident that you will be benefited, and whoever is going to use this method will be benefited more. Bye for now. See you later.